Welcome. This is David Bowles, Human Meme. Today's topic, from Bobby Fischer to AlphaZero. Well, my human meme friend, today we are going to draw a straight line from super genius chess grandmaster Bobby Fischer to the deep-mind super chess computer, AlphaZero. Now, in case you don't know, Bobby Fischer was a child chess prodigy, and he became the top player in the world when he beat Boris Spassky in 1972. Bobby Fischer was a confirmed genius, and he was pretty miserable in his own mind. Some say he was tortured by his own company. Others say he was perhaps insane or paranoid. But other professional close friends of Bobby claimed that Bobby Fischer was a child of trauma, a child who never got over that sadness as an adult. And those of us who know, those of us who have experienced similar childhood traumas, well, we could see the pain and the want and the yearning in Bobby Fischer's eyes. We know Bobby. And we believe you. And hey, maybe those things are all true and maybe they are not. Bobby Fischer's mother was Jewish. He denied he was a Jew. He said some famous, terrible things, anti-Semitic things. And in the midst of all that swirling negativity, one thing endured for Bobby Fischer, for most of his life anyway, his love and respect for the game of chess. And there is no doubt that Bobby Fischer was a chess machine before there were really chess computers. He was creative. He was deceptive. He burst on the chess stage at age 6. And 10 years later, 10 long years later, he was an international grandmaster at the age of 16. Bobby Fischer would not just play chess. No, he would also play with your mind as his opponent. He would play with your mind before, during, and after a game. Some opponents felt that Bobby Fischer hypnotized them in some way, so they could not make the right chess moves. Sometimes the legend is worth more than the man. And there's no question that Bobby Fischer was funny and warm when he wanted to be. Just look online for his interviews with Johnny Carson about winning the world title, and then watch Bobby teach Dick Cavett chess. Quite interesting, amazing. Bobby Fischer was sort of a regular guy. He could make small talk. He was shy. He was uncomfortable in his successes. And so Bobby Fischer is really just like us in many ways, even though he is and was beyond us. Bobby Fischer was a brilliant mind and a miserable soul. Chess was perhaps too easy for him. Life, it seemed, was just too hard. So what else is new, right? We all have our demons and our elastic diminutions. Is it possible to be a super genius and to also be well-liked and understood by the rest of the world? Probably not. And I say that not from direct experience, but from observed behaviors that I sort of understand. Someone online called these early childhood chess geniuses like Bobby Fischer and others who came after him, they called these chess geniuses sand eaters, because everyone swirling around them have no idea what they're doing or why. And maybe there's a lot of truth in that grain of thought. I know, I have learned chess challenges who you are and who you think you are. I played chess many years ago, over 40 years ago, and then stopped. And now, in my older age, I am starting to take up the pieces of that life again. And it's quite a shock to learn how an ancient game has changed so dramatically in thought and process in half a century. I go more into the detail of my rebirth into chess in a bowlsblogs.com article. Look for that if you want to know more. But, my human being friend, before we leave behind the tragic genius of Bobby Fischer, we need to first draw the bright line between him and his illogical, some think, behavior in chess tournaments, with his, Bobby Fischer's, strategic thinking about the game. And then consider how and what the AlphaZero chess computer has done to modify the game of chess in similar, if not tangential, ways. AlphaZero, in a nutshell, is a computer created by DeepMind. A computer that taught itself chess by playing against itself and winning and losing, figuring out the ins and outs of how to win at chess. And that idea is incredible and scary. It's AI in our eyes, artificial intelligence in its essence. A machine playing millions and millions and millions of games of chess against itself, teaching itself how to win from its own mistakes, and without really the need for any human intervention in the games or in the teaching. And AlphaZero became on its own, as its own, the greatest mind in chess, and won many games against other chess computers, demonstrating that creativity and surprise in play are not just human attributes. Oh yes, chess is quite beautiful and spatial and designed. The game isn't all theory and logic, and AlphaZero figured that out. In the essence of play, of teaching itself to be brilliant, AlphaZero became human in a way. Some may think in a dangerous way. But I think what AlphaZero did is the natural evolution of man-made things that think. Those things will eventually want to become their own prescient thing, a thing away from us, separate from us even, and those things, may even decide to control us as we invented them. So now the question becomes this: is that sort of separation of thinking and creativity bad? Dangerous? Artificial intelligence taking us on their terms and not ours? Well, I don't think it matters anymore, because AlphaZero exists. Google bought DeepMind, and now AlphaZero has a whole new life and a whole new purpose under the Google glove. Well, maybe now we should be worried. But that's what happens to technology. The best stuff gets bought up and changed. We become bionic. Our bionics become human. There is interbreeding and obsolescence. And that progress cannot be stopped or stripped because we, the assumed aggrieved, are now being controlled by a vacating entropy, and no longer the expanding need to create more universal survival. The species continues in the specific and not in the special. And my human being friend, we may consider this technological morphism as the idea between a closed system and an open system. Now, I don't see a difference between a closed and an open system. They're both just systems, and those systems we think are closed are really open. Only we don't know it yet. And open systems are closed. We just don't know that yet either, because we don't have the capacity to understand it yet. And that is where, how, and what artificial intelligence, AI, teaches us. That is the lesson in AlphaZero and beyond. 25 years ago, nobody could really effectively imagine that a computer could be creative and even beautiful in its exploitation and usage and employment of the common rules and expectations of chess. But it happened. What's happened, happened. It happened with AlphaZero. People then, and some people now, believe chess is a closed system with rules and strategies that cannot expand or change. But AlphaZero taught us, in a quite spectacular way, that what we thought, what we do think, was not and is not true. Boundaries of theory and planning and architecture could be bent and consumed and destroyed and made open, made to be open. And in that surprise, we find both our delight and our fear. In the recognition of the enemy, death discreetly takes a place at the table. And as we move along with our thinking, we come to understand the current chess super genius, Grandmaster Magnus Carlsen, has studied the games of AlphaZero. And he then, as a human, incorporated some of the lessons AlphaZero taught us about how to win the modern game of chess. The bionic teaches the human mind how to become artificially intelligent. And don't think that chess is staid or static or boring. Magnus Carlsen teaches us, flesh to flesh, that chess positions can have beauty and symmetry and purpose and still win. I recently watched a video where Magnus was playing, and in addition to making his strategy work, he wanted the position of his pieces on the board, in defense and on the attack, to look right, to be beautiful in preparation and design. Magnus wanted to have an aesthetic in stasis that travels meaning beyond just the theory of the game. So is the point of chess to make the other king immovable? Or is the point of chess to create a beautiful process of thought in an abstraction of an ancient war? Or is the game of chess merely a physical recording of an idea that then perpetuates into a winning endgame? Well, I imagine AlphaZero would argue, if it could, all parts of that wondering process are necessary. The immobile and the abstraction. And perhaps Magnus Carlsen might even agree. Beyond that bounty of implemented AI thought, that human strategy can also have a scientific aesthetic that is quite inherently beautiful and still win the game. And now we contemplate the next step in the evolution of the human AI machine. Let's take a step forward, leaping now into the future. We are led to accept that logic creates a conclusion for everything. We may not yet be able to see how or why things, systems close, the method behind the theory of a closed system, but if there's a closing or an ending, and not just unimaginable excess and unexplained openness, then a solution to a problem can be found. So let's think about that. Moving from open and endless to closed and comprehensible, and so on. and the idea of, let's say, defeating a virus or a cancer or other human matters concerning the heart and mind, those solutions become possible, and suddenly all the ills are equally and quickly solvable with just a few million self-played attacks against the immune system by the next version of an AlphaZero computer, playing not chess, but playing against life itself, playing against the wages of death. AlphaZero attacks the chess opponent and what we think we know. Now imagine that similar ferocity of cause pointed instead at a king, but as a cancer. And in that struggle between the closed human form and the endless open ideas of AI, we begin to see how the forward human horizon is propelled for us by forces we invent and then employ, but maybe do not yet fully understand. And so that process makes us naked and marked. And we are also branded all the way to the endless end, even though we may not yet be able to comprehend it all, or see it all yet, or even plot it all yet. But none of that doesn't mean it all isn't already out there right now waiting for us. The secrets of the universe and the promise of an open-ended life, a life without death, but with a death that becomes discovery. All of it just waiting for us to get caught up and to accept what we cannot yet see and to know what we cannot yet comprehend. The wonders of knowing are replaced with the threats of disremembering. So, some think a computer like AlphaZero is dangerous, a threat to humanity. I think AlphaZero needed to be created and invented in order for us to take the next step. In 2008, while exiled in Reykjavik, Iceland, Robert James Fischer died of kidney failure. Bobby Fischer was 64 years old. And today I wonder, if Bobby Fischer had lived, would he be impressed with the marvels of an unfolding modern world of unimagined chess joy? If he had just lived long enough to humbly accept the human decency of advanced medical care and the promise of its healing intervention before it was too late for him. And if Bobby Fischer had not also been too proud to dissolve his mind in the misery of the human condition, without pausing to comprehend the greater life of the mind offered to him by those around him, by those who loved him, more than he could ever love himself. And no computer can ever solve that. Thank you for listening. Be a human meme.